Hello everyone, it's Russell James here. How are we doing? Welcome to this webinar, How to Eat Raw for 3 days and Transform Your Energy, Get Better Sleep and Feel More Vibrant Than Ever. I'm glad to have you with us here. I can see we've got a few people joining us still. So thank you so much for joining. Really excited to be presenting you with this and showing you how to go raw for 3 days. Okay, let's just jump into this. So my goal for this training, I really want to show you what's possible when you bring an abundance of raw foods into your life and give you actionable tools on how to do that by starting off with a commitment of just 3 days on only raw foods. Now, I'm also going to show you what to do beyond that to maintain those benefits as well. So here's my manifesto of why you should stay with me until the end, apart from the fact that I just want to have you here and don't want to feel lonely. Here's the stuff that really matters. Discover your own reasons why you want to eat raw for 3 days. Learn how to set yourself up right and keep yourself on track, and how you can make this simple and easy to do, and why you should make this simple and easy to do. How to get the support of your family, so that's a big one. I know for a lot of people, we're going to be covering that. Plus, I've got a very special offer for you at the end of the webinar. Okay, so my totally free gift to you. Eat Raw for 3 days, recipes, meal plans, shopping list. At the end of the webinar, I'm going to put up a button where you can download this with my thanks for free. So as it says there, all the recipes for your 3 days, the meal plans and the shopping list to get you going as well. So everything just really done for you as much as possible. Okay, so who is this training really for? Well, first of all, it's for people who have never eaten raw before and that are excited about the benefits. Okay, so that's pretty self-explanatory. If that's you, then you're in the right place. It's also for people who are confused about where to start. And I think that's most people when they're starting out, right? You're not really sure what to do, where to start. Should I go 100% raw? Do I need a dehydrator? All this kind of stuff. So again, if that's you, you're in the right place. This is also for people that have eaten raw before and want a restart. Okay, that can definitely happen to some people. This is for people who want to eat high raw after this 3 days as well. So, really good way to start off a new way of eating. I'm going to tell you in a little while a brief history of my cleansing, my fasting in Thailand, where this all started for me. And I just see any kind of cleansing and fasting and kind of short burst of anything as like a really good reset. So this could be a good reset for you, where you reset your taste buds, even out your blood sugar, and just gets you into a healthier way of eating, with high raw being part of that perhaps after the 3 days. Next, this is for people that want to get out of a rut. So we can all get into a rut, right? Even I can get into a rut. If I'm traveling, if I maybe haven't been eating my normal foods, I've just been eating what I can. I think we can all get into a rut. Now, my rut of today is definitely different from my rut of years ago. Because of the foods I eat, they're just different foods. So, but whatever your version of a rut is, if you're in one right now, then this is for you as well. And this is for people who see the value in making food for themselves and their family. So, when people ask me about making raw food and, is it more difficult? And, I think you've definitely got to acknowledge that it's a different way of doing things, right? But often when people say, oh, raw food's too difficult, it takes too long, it's because when I dig into and I ask them what do they normally eat, often they're not actually making food for themselves very often, right? They're going out and having meals out, and which is all great, or picking up something, as long as it's healthy, then great. As we're going to talk about in a little while, this isn't about depriving yourself of any foods or any social occasions and friends, certainly not. So when I dig into it, they're not really making food for themselves. So actually, what you need to be able to do is see the value in making food for yourself and your family. And if you can do that, if you do see that value, in knowing what's going into your food, organic where possible, if that's your choice, if your funds will allow, then this is for you for sure. Okay. So let's get a little bit of audience participation here, because I do hate feeling like I'm sitting here on my own. So I'd love to know, just in the questions comments box there, if you could tell me if you've eaten raw before. So if not, why haven't you started yet? And that might be something as simple as I only just heard about it, or I've been thinking about it for a while. Some people think about this and they tell me they've been thinking about it for years, and then they get started and they're like, oh man, I wasted so much time before starting. And if yes, what stopped you at the time? If you stopped, what stopped you? Or are you still going? Are you at a level where you're happy? So let's have a look here. Okay, I do feel great when I'm raw, and the food is amazing, from Vicky. It is amazing, and I feel amazing. There's a lot of amazings here. Becky. Not sure how to get my family eating more raw food, from Hazel. Hazel, that's I mentioned that, didn't I, a couple of minutes ago? That's definitely a good one. We're gonna tackle that for sure. Okay, from Raindrop. Is that your real name, Raindrop? If that's your real name, that's awesome. What a great name. It can be overwhelming, but I just started with smoothies and pâtés using nuts and seeds that I was already familiar with. I think that's actually a pretty good place to start. If that's where you're at right now, Raindrop, then we're going to give you some more ideas to move forwards. Alison, doing raw and continuing. Okay, very cool. Claude, yes, 5 days a week. Perfect. No, starting now, only just going vegan. That's from John. John, yeah, perfect. A lot of people do come from veganism and vegetarianism to raw food, because raw food is actually vegan by default. I mean, some people, and I've got some recipes I've got one recipe that's got bee pollen, and then honey I like to use as a sweetener. It's the most nutritious sweetener, but I know there's obviously, there's an for vegans there's an ethical issue there, which is totally fine. It doesn't mean for you guys on the webinar now that you necessarily have to be vegan, if you were wondering, because I do get that question as well. It just means that when you're eating raw, you are vegan, and I just think that's a wonderful thing to, even if you're not planning on going totally vegan, it's about being, mostly plant-based, and certainly, raw food is one way to reduce the amount of animal products you're eating, if that's of a concern to you. So thanks for that, John. Okay. So let's move on. So I want to give you just a little bit of a background on my story, and I don't want to dwell on it too much, but I just want to give you that background because I think you'll see in my story some things that will relate to you and give you some sense of where I'm coming from and just, the impact that raw food has had on me. So my name is Russell James. I've been eating raw food for over 10 years and teaching raw food for around 9-10 years now as well. And I discovered raw food because I was looking for a way to clear up my acne. And so in my early 20s, I worked for a fast food chain, which is about as far away from as raw food as you can get. And that was where I developed my acne. And who knows, if it was whether I was eating there every day or, the fact that I was working there and just in that environment that was greasy and hot and, all of those things, or whether, I was 16, 17, 18 years old, and whether it was on the cards for me just hormonally that was going to happen. I suspect it's a combination of all of those. But I spent 7 or 8 years taking medication, right? So I took antibiotics, which the clued up of you will know antibiotics. Even if you take more than one course of antibiotics in your life, it can really affect your system, and it can affect your gut, obviously, because we know what anti means. Biotic means life, so it's anti-life. It's the opposite to probiotics, which are the good flora in your stomach and your gut. So taking antibiotics really can have some serious effects over time the more you do them. So I also did some topical skin creams that made my skin red and itchy, right? So all of the counter, the kind of commercial off the shelf stuff didn't work. But then I got into some kind of doctor prescribed lotions and creams, and that, as I said, made my skin really very sore. And I also did Roaccutane as well. And Roaccutane, as some of you may know, is a really strong pharmaceutical that dries out your oil production, which from a point of view of acne, it can help. But what it also does, your brain runs on fats. Oils are fats. And so, there's some side effects in the literature that comes with, the medication that says it can cause anxiety and depression. And I believe that's because it's stopping your oil production. Again, actually, I don't think I've mentioned this. This is my caveat. I'm obviously not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm, quote, just a chef. And what I'm sharing with you here is just my personal experience. It's not meant to, I'm not pretending to be a doctor. I'm not meant to be prescribing you anything here. I'm just sharing. So with that in mind, I took the Roaccutane. You can also have liver damage from Roaccutane, and this is just, this is what the literature says. So I did that. Who knows what damage that did to me, but not good for the body. And after I'd done all that, I'd heard about raw food, but it just seemed very extreme to me. Right, I heard about a family just eating raw food, and I think that's the reaction most people have actually when they don't know much about it. It's kind of like, what, just eating raw fruits and vegetables? That's weird, like how extreme. But then I got into the idea of juicing and the idea of cleansing. There weren't actually such things as juiced fasts around at that time, but I did find, some of you may have heard of Jason Vale. I did I think he called it his Ultimate Spring Clean, and it was 2 days on water and the rest of the week on juice. And I did the 2 days on water, and then I felt really kind of like I had all these detox symptoms and woke up feeling groggy. But on the third day, I woke up feeling just incredible, and so that kind of piqued my interest. So then I heard about this raw food place, or this fasting place in Koh Samui, Thailand, where they would talk about raw food. They talked about eating 80% raw food. They served raw food in their cafe. And whilst on that 7-day cleanse, I cleared up my skin. All right, so I was doing a 7-day no eating, multiple enemas a day, and nutritional supplements, psyllium bentonite clay drinks. So if you've ever heard of psyllium, or if you haven't heard of psyllium, it's the husk of the psyllium seed. So it's like 100% fiber, and then you mix that with water, and you mix it with bentonite clay or activated charcoal, which pulls out all the toxins, and it goes through like a sponge. And we do that several times a day with the enemas. So that was really incredible for me. I felt just amazing after that, and it cleared up my skin, and I continued to make my skin better with raw food when I came back to the UK. So I got really excited about raw food, like this guy, but I didn't really know how to make any of it. Now, I chose this picture here. Any of you that have got a Vitamix will know you'll have your Vitamix moment if you haven't had it already, which is where the top comes off, right? And this kind of situation happens. And it's usually with some kind of green smoothie or green juice or green something, or a beetroot thing, similar to this. So I didn't really know how to make raw food, and I picked it up as I went along with varying levels of success. And co-workers at the time would make fun of me. So this is one I think maybe now people don't experience it as much, because healthy eating and raw food and just everything around healthy eating really is much better understood. It's much more mainstream now than it was when I first started out. But it would be kind of a circus at lunchtime when I would get my raw food out, and that was just when I was eating salads. If I'd take in something like a dehydrated burger and tomato sauce, people would just it was really intense actually. And I lived in shared accommodation at the time. Now, it wasn't quite as busy as this picture, but that's what it felt like at the time. Maybe you can relate. Maybe if you're in shared accommodation, or if you haven't got a particularly big kitchen, or you just feel like you haven't got the space to really eat the food that you want to eat. That's really how I felt at the time. I was finding out about this amazing food, and I was like, I just want to be making this stuff, and I couldn't be in the kitchen too late because it would make too much noise and all this stuff. I couldn't make food whenever I wanted. It was extremely frustrating. And so if I couldn't find something raw, I'd just eat nuts, right? So it was just something I could grab, not healthy. Even truly raw nuts, eating nuts all the time is not ideal, and some people talk about, 100% raw, being the healthiest way to go. And that really doesn't cover it. It's kind of like saying, 100% cooked is unhealthy, because there's varying degrees of cooking, and there's all different types of food that you can cook. In the same way, in raw food, you could eat dates and nuts, like truly raw nuts, all day, and you're not going to be healthy just eating those two things, even though you're 100% raw. So that's my kind of little bit of advice here. My little side note here is try not to get too hung up on like the percentages. It's really, raw food, to be raw is not the end. The end is to be healthy, and raw food is one huge way that we can do that. It's kind of like our means to an end. So when I was in this situation, I almost gave up. And that picture there says never give up. I think there are definitely times when giving up is appropriate in life. Like if you consciously say, I'm not ever going to be, the world's number one golfer, or I'm not ever going to be a pop star, or I'm not, then fine. But I'm so glad I didn't give up with, eating this way, because of what's happened to me, So I was able to fuse my creativity and the healing that I had and became the Raw Chef. I transitioned from a supermarket manager and driving instructor at the time to having my own business. And I traveled the world and made incredible new friends for life. Now, some of those things you might be saying, well, good for you. What's that got to do with me? And really, you might not want your own business. You might not want to work in raw food. But what I found with people transitioning over to, any healthier way of eating, especially raw food, because it's so vibrant and it's so alive. When you start to bring living foods and life into your foods, you bring life into your life, and I see this time and time and time again. It becomes so much more than just about the food. It becomes about what happens to you in your life. So that's what we're here for. I'm here to inspire you to get yourself a little bit of that. So I don't know where you are right now, whether you've taken time out from work to you're on your lunch break, or if you've got kids running around, or whatever it is. But I would love for you to, if you can find yourself a place, maybe exactly where you are, if it's quiet, where you can close your eyes and we can just have a little bit of a visualization session here for 2 minutes. If you've got kids running around or whatever, obviously make sure they're safe, but maybe you could just disappear off to the bathroom for a few seconds for 2 minutes and just sit on the loo. But let's just close our eyes, and I want to have a little bit of a visualization, a bit of time for yourself to imagine what your life could look like 90 days from now. Just think about yourself in 90 days having eaten a diet rich in life-giving, vibrant and healthy raw foods. Doesn't even have to be 100%, but just bringing in more living raw foods into your life and what that will do for you. Imagine how you would feel after that, of transforming the way that you're eating. We're not going on a diet, we're not being really strict with ourselves, but we're discovering this new food that is vibrant and alive and tastes amazing. And you can just feel it feeding your cells when you eat it or you drink it. And how much energy do you have after 90 days? How does that feel? Energy to create beautiful things in your life. Whether that's starting a business, if that's what you've wanted to do, or, maybe changing your job. Or maybe it's the energy to play with your kids or your grandkids all day. How much would that mean to you? How would that feel? And just make sure you're taking some nice deep breaths. Just let that ground into your body and how that would feel. Really doing something for you, taking care of your body so that you can show up for people in your life more to the level that you want to, if that's important to you. And think about all the ripple effects of all of those things in other people's lives that you've affected positively. How does that feel? Some of those things you'll never even know. You'll never even know the good that you can do in people's lives. You might not hear about it. But just knowing that those ripple effects are going out from you taking time for yourself and taking care of yourself. And how does it feel to create the kind of body you want? And I'm definitely for, loving ourselves where we're at right now. And I'm not even necessarily talking about losing weight, although if you do want to lose weight, lots and lots of people have done it with raw food healthily. But even if you're, where you're at, just feeling lighter, we're not worried about what the scales say or any of that stuff, but just like feeling different in your body, really learning to love your body and cherish it. This instrument, this vehicle that we experience this reality in. And how does it feel to maybe have clearer skin if that's something you want? That's something that was near and dear to me and is near and dear to me still. How does it feel to have comments on your skin looking good from strangers, which absolutely happens to me and happened to me. Literally a stranger stopping me in the street and commenting on my skin. And what about if it's not clear skin for you? What about if it's just, looking more vital, looking more alive, and people start saying, wow, you're looking good, what are you doing? And you say, oh, I'm doing this thing. Okay, and whilst you're in that space, I just want you to take one more final breath here. And just gently open your eyes and come back to where you are. And with that energy, we're just going to move on to your 5 reasons why. For me, it was to have clearer skin. I've mentioned that. What would be your top 1 reason why? Like clearer skin, if I could just clear my skin, that would have sorted everything for me. If I could just get that sorted out, that would just answer so many things that I'm worried about. I wanted to experience more flow in my life as well. I started to hear about people having all these synchronicities, and they put it down to the diet that they were eating, which was kind of interesting to me. But I do think, when you get this, I talked about this, this vehicle in this body that we are, depending on your spiritual beliefs, we're this spiritual being in this physical body. And what if you take care of this physical body so that you can start to manifest things into your life and everything starts to just flow a little bit easier? That, for me, I love the sound of that. Now, I didn't know this at the time, but it reconnected me to my creativity. If I'd have known it, that would have absolutely been one of my 3. So these are examples for you to think about. Maybe you want to learn some new recipes. Maybe you're, like I said, stuck in a rut. And maybe you want to get better sleep as well. I've put that in the title of this webinar because I found, my sleep is definitely better. I mean, it's hard for me to think back from when I didn't eat raw food, but yeah, better sleep. So many people talk to me about, having got better sleep. So in the recipes and the downloads you're going to get, within there's a place that you can write down your 5 reasons why, and I'll take you through that exercise. But I also want you to journal these every day. And I want you to rate your experience from 1 to 5 on how you're feeling as it relates to your top 5 reasons why you're going raw. So 1 would be not great, and 5 would be the ultimate. And just to give you an example, 5 for me, as it relates to my skin, wasn't completely clear skin. Like when you've had acne for 7 or 8 years, and you wake up every morning with a new spot or new pimple, at least one new one. A good day, like a 4 for me, is waking up with no new acne or pimples, right? Or spots or pimples. So 5 doesn't have to be like, I'm completely there, but it's like how you feel about the progress you're making. And just write a couple of sentences on each, So for my spots, it would have been, woke up this morning, no new spots, and feels amazing. Like just have a little area start to clear up of my little area of my skin start to clear up. Now keep this fun. Let's not be heavy with this, right? It's fun. And I think you're going to enjoy this. And what you're doing is you're tuning up your sensory acuity to notice the things that you want in life. So you've said, I really want these 5 things. This is why I'm going raw for 3 days and beyond. These are the 5 things I want. This is how I'm feeling about them each day. And here's a few sentences. And by doing that, the things you focus on, you'll get more of. I think we've all heard that. If you haven't, you have now. Yeah, this is a really, really enjoyable exercise to just do for maybe a week or 2. You might like it so much that you'll continue to do it a couple of days a week or even, longer. So, let me just take a sip of water here. This is kind of a rhetorical question. So do you want the easy way to bring an abundance of raw food into your daily life so that you can start to create that vibrant future you? It's got to be yes, right? I'd love it if you would just type in yes into the questions and comments so I don't feel alone here whilst I'm doing this. I do love a little bit of participation. I can see them coming through. Thank you. Perfect. Okay, now I'm going to take you through 3 secrets. Now, they're not secrets as in like someone's been keeping this stuff from you, but their secret is like a secret to your success, or secret to my success. Okay, so secret number 1. You can make this simple and easy to do. And I'm talking about the 3 days here. And it's really important that you do make it simple and easy to do. So you're going to use recipes that take no more than 10 minutes to make. Now, there is, some of you are going to be able to do it a little bit quicker. Some of you might even take 15 or 20 minutes. But in the grand scheme of things, 15 or 20 minutes to make a recipe, to make a meal, even a little bit longer, is time well spent, I think. And if I can have, if I had a manifesto for spending time in the kitchen, I think there's few things that are more important, than family, than, connecting with people and fueling your body correctly and giving yourself nourishing food so that you can do everything else in your life in, a better way. But generally, if you make simpler recipes that take around about 10 minutes, and even if you start the 3 days and they're taking you a little bit longer and you get quicker over the next couple of days, I just think that's such a good use of your time. I think in our society now, we're giving so little weight to, time in the kitchen, time nourishing ourselves, but particularly with food. Nourishing ourselves in every way actually, but nourishing ourselves with food, I just think it's time well spent. And we're trying to say, I don't want to, I want to make this as quick as possible. I've only got 15 minutes or I've only got 20 minutes. I do want to try and fit into that, but at the same time, let's not reduce the importance of nourishing ourselves down to, just a few minutes. So the recipes in the book that you're going to get the download for, at the end, there's going to be a button at the end of the webinar that you can click on and you can download the recipes. So I've got you covered there. And now you can get adventurous later on if you want to. So if you want to make a raw pizza in a week, or maybe you want to do some raw tacos, or you want to do something a little bit more adventurous, that's not the way that people that are into raw food eat all the time. By the way, if you didn't know that, people aren't using a dehydrator like every single day like an oven. You might fill up the dehydrator once a week or twice a week and, eat a bit more simply for the rest of the week. By the way, the recipes that I'm giving you don't need a dehydrator. I'm assuming you haven't got any real special equipment. We're going to come to that anyway. There you go. Here's the next one. You don't need to get bogged down in needing lots of equipment, just a knife, a chopping board and a blender. If you can get a food processor, you get extra marks as well. It doesn't have to be a Vitamix as a blender, but a Vitamix is a great thing to aspire to. If your resources allow, then getting a Vitamix as soon as possible is a really cool thing to do. A knife, a really sharp knife will change your life, I promise. Because if you've never used a properly sharp knife before, you'll just be amazed at how easy it is to cut things, how much more enjoyable it is. Like, people use blunt knives for years after year after year, and it's just ruining your kitchen experience. And then a chopping board, the chopping board is like your canvas. It's like, it's like your home. It's where you're going to spend your time in the kitchen. I really love a nice, big chopping board to create from, create on that canvas with a nice sharp knife. You don't have to get bogged down in, dehydrators and all this fancy stuff, with the caveat that a Vitamix would be a really good purchase. But whatever blender you can get, go with that. Okay, now don't wait until you're hungry to decide what to eat. This is a really important one. Has anyone ever been in the supermarket hungry? If you ever, it's one of those things, don't do the shopping hungry. But even more than that, if you wait until you're hungry to decide what to eat, you're probably going to fall back onto something that you haven't made yourself. And unless you live around a place that does raw food, it's not going to be raw, right? So again, you're going to be able to download the menu plans and the recipes and the shopping list at the end of this webinar. So this is all going to be planned out for you. But this, beyond the 3 days, generally, if you can keep this in mind, don't wait until you're hungry to decide what to eat, because you walk to the fridge and there's nothing in there, and then you go back to the fridge and you see if anything's reappeared in the last 2 minutes since you last opened the door, and still nothing's there, right? So you end up just doing something that's not supportive of your nourishment. And as I've mentioned here, use a menu planner so you can shop once for the 3 days. And then later on, ideally, you'll have the skill to make something without a recipe with what you have in the fridge. Now, I just mentioned the fridge thing. So the side note on this one is, so long as you've got something nice in the fridge and you've got some healthy ingredients, later on, if you're not at this stage already, if you do this enough, you'll start picking up things like, oh, that's how I make a raw sauce, or that's how I make a really good salad dressing, or a salad that's not just tomatoes and lettuce leaves. Oh, I can see how I can do that. Oh, I can add in a little bit of baked aubergine, or baked butternut squash. Whatever it is, you'll learn how to use that stuff. You'll learn how to use oil and salt and lemon juice and herbs and spices, and that's actually what our curriculum is about, right? So we've got the online training courses that we do online at the Raw Chef Academy. That's what we're aiming to have you do, but you'll pick up some of this as you go along. Okay, so secret number 2, don't try and force your family into this. Now, put a smiley face on there to soften the blow here. But we already had a couple of people mention, didn't we, at the start, that the family thing is a real big thing for them, and I do hear this a lot. So I just wanted to include this from Amy Hartman, who left this comment on my blog a little while ago. She says some nice things about how generous I am, and she says thank you, but then she says this is my 5th recipe that I'll try, and my 6-year-old begs for the other 4. Your mummy's angel. Thank you, Russell. So I don't have kids right now, and I can only hope that something like this will happen. And some of you with kids that, your kids are, you're saying my kids would never do that. But you never know, if you get people involved in the food, if you get the kids involved in the food, making the fun stuff, getting them to use their hands, spending time with you in the kitchen is like a bonding experience. You never know. Something like this might happen for you. But onto the main points here, because if your family don't want to eat raw with you, it can feel like you're separating yourself, right? Maybe you've had this experience. You found this way of eating, you want to give it a try, or you have tried it and you really like how you feel, and your family just aren't into it. And at best, they will just let you do your own thing. At worst, they'll kind of give you a hard time for it. And I think it's really important to not take it personally. And if they don't want to eat raw with you, it can kind of feel like you're separating yourself. And I think dinner should be a shared experience. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to tell your family what you're doing for 3 days. Right? You can talk about it as a test or as an experiment. Say you're excited about it, and it's just for 3 days. And you might find that your family members start to get inquisitive, right? Which is actually what happened with me. I mean, my mum is very open-minded with it anyway, but you know, I've got, I guess, a couple of families. I've got my stepdad and my stepbrothers, and they're all pretty open-minded. My dad tried it back in the early days before I was, doing this professionally, and tried some of my crackers that I was experimenting with, and they were horrible. And he spat them out. He didn't enjoy it, but then I got better at it, and I can remember a couple of Christmas dinners that I had with my mum and stepdad and my stepbrothers, and people that were around, and they started to kind of get inquisitive about what was I eating, and what did I make these amazing, oh man, every time I talk about these I think I should make them not just at Christmas, but like pigs in blankets, which are like little chipolata sausages wrapped in bacon. I do a raw version. It's in my Christmas ebook, and they're amazing. I love them, and people just kind of scoop those up. I always make more than I need to because I know they're going to get eaten, and you might find that your friends get inquisitive as well. So I can remember living with a friend when I was getting into juicing, and I'd had my juice, and he was kind of outwardly saying that kind of juicing was weird or whatever it was. I mean, this was years ago. Juicing is so popular now, right? Everyone knows what it is. But I saw him sneaking some of my green juice that was left in the jug, right? I saw it in the reflection of the door. And so outwardly he was kind of, making fun of me, but actually he knew there was some goodies in there that he wanted. So you can also consider doing one special meal at the end of 3 days to celebrate, right? So, you might want to do it on the last meal on day 3, or maybe even, do it on day 4. But just to show what you can do, show what this can be, maybe pick another recipe off of my website in the, the free recipes section, and maybe do a dessert, right? Desserts are just insane. It's just such an easy way to get people into raw food. It really is truly one of those things you don't have to tell people that they're raw, right? You can just serve them up a raw dessert, and it's difficult not to love raw desserts. So great way to show people that you're not actually insane. Okay, how are we doing for time? Cool. So secret number 3, you don't need willpower. Okay, you don't need willpower, and you can't rely on willpower. So my aim for this webinar is to give you the excitement and the inspiration, and that little bit of willpower that comes from the excitement and the inspiration to get you started. As we all know, willpower or excitement and motivation are temporary. Inspiration, they're all temporary. And, I'm not spending this webinar just talking you through all of the recipes, because that would be a waste of both of our time, because I'm giving you the recipes, I'm giving you the menu plan, and I'm giving you a shopping list at the end. What you need is the strategies and the mindset, right, to be able to actually do this and know how to handle some of the stuff that is going to come up, as we've spoken about. So willpower, so that's what we're doing, and willpower is one of these things. So as I said there, the webinar is about getting you excited to start. Now, what I would suggest is that you start on a Friday or a Saturday or a Sunday. Friday would be really ideal, because you could do it through the weekend. And by the way, I'm assuming that most people, have the weekend as some kind of, no work situation. I know obviously that's not true for everyone. Back to when I worked in retail, I worked every Friday and every Saturday and Sunday, and had, I think, like a Monday and a Tuesday off. So whatever your 2 days off are, that would be really good. If you even get 2 days off, whatever your least loaded days are. I still think, even now I work Saturdays and Sundays a lot, but they have that different energy, don't they? I love Saturday mornings. They just have a different energy to Monday and Tuesday, where you feel like, oh man, I need to be getting stuff done. The other thing about Mondays is that everyone starts their diet on Monday, and this, I mentioned this earlier, this is absolutely not a diet. Right, this is a cleanse. This is a time for you to do, to do your thing, little bit of the time to take for yourself, to nourish yourself, to press reset, to be the best that you can be. So it's not a diet. And if you start on a Monday, it can be really tricky because, like I said, you feel like you've got to be doing stuff on Monday, whether that's with the kids or, whether it's work or business, job, whatever it is. So starting Friday is a really, really cool idea. Now, everyone experiences the first day differently. So it might be your first day, you might get to the end of day one and just be buzzing, you might be high, in terms of I just feel really good, I feel great in my body, I feel comfortable in my skin, you might even have a little bit of trouble getting to sleep once you've got all this energy. So there's certain things you can do. Let's talk about that just because I mentioned it. If you've got so much energy that you find it difficult to relax, then I would suggest having a time where, and I know you've heard this before, but having a time where you're turning your screens off, right? Where you're not watching TV, you're not on your phone, it all gets put away. And this does take some willpower and some discipline. But I think if you do it a few times, you'll kind of get addicted to it. It might involve, running a bath, maybe with some essential oils, some candles, and, I'm talking to the guys too here. I'm not afraid to admit, a nice relaxing bath can really put your mind in that frame of, I'm going to bed now, I'm going to relax, I'm going to rewind. And I don't know about you, but if I start to read in bed at night, I cannot read past more than a few pages without feeling really tired. And if worse comes to the worst, if you end up reading for an hour, you've read for an hour. Reading's always a good thing as long as you're reading something, positive. So that's one thing about having too much energy, which is not most people's biggest problem, right? Having too much energy. So the other thing is detox symptoms. I mentioned back towards the start of the webinar that I did my first cleanse just drinking water for 2 days, it's way too severe to go from doing nothing to doing no real kind of proper health practices, not having done anything before, no colonics or anything like that, to go and just doing 2 days of water. It's too severe. So what happened to me was I started to feel fluey and headachy. I had a headache. And I actually at the time took that as a positive, sign, because I'd heard about these detox symptoms and I was like, oh, okay, it's working. What everyone says is happening is going to happen. Now, you might not experience that because we're not just putting you on water. You're going to be eating food and, good food. So everyone's version of detox is different. Some people, to them, not eating, not drinking alcohol for a week or even a day, certainly for 3 days, is a form of detox, right? Because it's not something they're used to doing. So they're leaving out something that is harmful to the body. And then you've got people that as a detox for them, it really is doing just water, or maybe it's doing just juices, or maybe it's leaving out caffeine, right? And there's one thing that is going to give you a headache. It's leaving out caffeine if you're used to caffeine. And if you're a coffee drinker and you're not, if you stop drinking coffee, you're almost certainly going to have a headache. Now, I would, if you're open to the idea, some of you are going to be listening and be seasoned colonic users, and some of you are just going to be scared by the idea. And I was definitely inquisitive before I had my first colonic, and I would challenge you to be open-minded if you're not already about having one and booking one in. Maybe for the first day, maybe for the third day on this experience, because it will definitely help with your headaches if you've got them, just to move that stuff through. I would say the later you can leave it, if you can leave it till day 3, you're going to have a more effective colonic, because you're eating lots of fiber. You're eating foods that are your body can digest. They're watery foods, water intense foods. Things like soups and juices and smoothies are always good pre-colonic. but it will help you. So if you can find a registered colon hydrotherapist, one that comes from a recommendation is always a really good idea. Colonics are not something you want to you want to leave to chance. So that's a few tips on the first day, and actually, as it turns out, the full 3 days. Now, don't make any social commitments. This is a time for doing something for yourself. Now, I want to be really clear here. I mentioned it a while ago that doing this, eating raw food, and actually any kind of lifestyle change as far as eating is concerned, could be seen as putting yourself in some kind of restrictive box in terms of what you can eat and what you can do and who you can go out with and how much fun you can have in life. So I'm absolutely not saying don't go out again. I'm just saying that for these 3 days, treat this like a little mini home retreat for yourself. So if you just imagine, if you've done everything that I've said you're doing here, you're setting yourself up a nice bath each night with some oils, maybe a bath bomb, some bubbles, some candles. You've booked yourself a colonic for day 3 or day 4. You're drinking plenty of water. You're making all this beautiful, luscious food for yourself that's bringing in life and energy. You're feeling good. And why would you want to do anything in those 3 days that jeopardizes that? Just for these 3 days, if you don't make any social commitments that could jeopardize that, then you can just bask in the glory of how that feels. If you do want to go out, if you do make any social commitments, maybe it's meeting someone for lunch or dinner. If you can go to if there's a raw food restaurant, cafe in your area, then that's really cool. But generally, I would say, just have these 3 days for yourself. But after the 3 days, this isn't about putting yourself in a prison. This is about having more fun in life. This is about feeling even better than you have done ever before, going out and having new experiences and meeting new people, and if that is something you want to do. So this is the thing. Once you've started to feel the energy and see the results, willpower is not needed. You're going to be hopefully really excited now, and when you come off of the webinar, and that willpower and that excitement will last you. Well, it's not really willpower, is it? It's excitement and motivation and inspiration. So again, you're not really needing willpower to get started. But then what needs to happen pretty quickly is that you start to see some results, right? So even if it's actually I'm feeling a bit groggy and I need to drink more water and have an early night and feel good. That is a result that is kind of like, okay, it's working, it's doing what it needs to do. And you wake up the next morning and maybe you feel just amazing. Massage, by the way, is another one. Head massage, amazing, especially obviously for headaches. But any kind of massage that kind of, moves your blood around and moves your lymph around. So the lymph is like your body's sewage system. Move that stuff around and move it out, and breathing. Yoga is amazing. Any kind of meditation is great, but any kind of breathing as well. So much of your toxins come out through your breath, actually. That breathing really expedites that process of detox. I would also buy a tongue brush or a tongue scraper. I saw somewhere recently that 80% of bad breath comes from the tongue. And, your tongue is like a sponge and it's soaking up all the stuff that you eat and drink. Now, eating this food, obviously, as long as you're not eating too much onion and garlic, but eating this food is, this is I hate to say clean food, but just because the opposite is kind of dirty. But, just in terms of smell and, this type of food is just very clean in that way, and you will naturally, your body odor. There's a period of detox, but you're putting in very clean foods into your body. But that detox situation, I've found having a tongue brush or a tongue scraper, as well as brushing your teeth, is going to be really, really good idea. Your mouth will feel just so much fresher, and you won't have any bad breath during your detox period. Now, the food should be delicious and filling. Right, there's no need to feel hungry and unsatisfied. So again, I've got you covered here with the recipes, right? What I will say is try not to eat too much, but also if you're hungry, eat, right? This isn't about restriction in terms of, like, we're not even talking about calories. We are just eating good, healthy, living food, and it's really important that you're not hungry. A friend of mine, a guy called Phil McCluskey, who lost half his body weight. He lost over 200 pounds on raw food, and he was because he was so heavy, he was just eating, when he went raw, he was eating so much raw food and nuts and, all these heavy foods, and people were like, you can't eat that, you're not going to lose weight. And he just kept losing weight and losing weight and losing weight. He was eating so much. There are people that say, well, you can eat as much raw food as you like and you'll never gain any weight. And I'm pretty sure that's not true, especially when you get into like desserts and all that kind of stuff. But what I have found is when, if I've eaten a little bit too much of raw food, it kind of tends to go like that full kind of feeling tends to go away quite quickly. But the main point here is that it's really important that you don't feel hungry and unsatisfied. So, have an extra portion of food. You'll probably find that some of the recipes are going to leave you with some leftovers, right? So you can get creative with what you do with some of the leftovers. Maybe, put some of the leftovers in a lettuce leaf and make a little extra snack out of it, and, maybe make some cashew sour cream to dip it into or to drizzle on the top. Like there's tons of different things you can do. And I think you'll see that as you start to make these recipes, and you'll get ideas for little snacks that you can have. So don't feel hungry. Make sure you eat enough food and don't feel unsatisfied. Oh, and I will say, by the way, with this, it's really important. I normally mention this at the beginning, actually, but it's really important that if you've got a history of eating disorders, that you really consult with someone on doing this. This is, it's really important to, take care of yourself in that way. I haven't got a lot of experience with eating disorders, but from the small amount of experience I do have, it would be wrong of me not to mention it here at this time. So make sure that you're working with a healthcare professional, if you've got that history of eating disorders and you're running all this by that person, making sure that it's all okay. Okay, so as I said there, if you need to add an extra snack, feel free to do so. And okay, so yeah, this is a good one. As you're eating the food, visualize all those living nutrients feeding your body on a cellular level, right? So this is really fun. I like to imagine, you can do this like with a green smoothie. When you're drinking that green smoothie, maybe you've got a bit of spirulina in there, you've got all of the chlorophyll within the greens, maybe the spinach or a little bit of kale maybe. Close your eyes and just imagine as you're drinking that green smoothie, you could even do it now actually, imagine you're drinking a green smoothie and that's going down into your system, into your body, into this vessel, this temple, and it's nourishing your cells in the way that they are just crying out to be nourished. And I like to kind of imagine the little sunshine emojis, right, going down in that green juice and hitting my cells, and my cells just opening up and just drinking those little sunshine emojis in and just bringing them into my body. And I tell you, I haven't seen the research, but I'm sure someone has done some kind of research on how food affects you depending on how you see it and how you feel about it, right? And so when you're drinking something that is as healthy as a green smoothie and you're visualizing that it's doing so much good for you anyway, like even if you don't believe in that stuff, the placebo is a scientifically proven fact. So if you believe what you're doing is the right thing, and it actually is, that's a double whammy, right? You're in. Another thing you can do here actually is I like to tune up my my eating, my intuitive eating sometimes by eating a food with my eyes closed actually, and just really kind of focusing in on how that food tastes, how it feels, and what it's doing for me. Right, so you don't have to, I'm not suggesting you do this for the whole 3 days with every meal, but just sometimes, even if you do it just for 10 seconds, and I tell you, it changes the way that when you eat something that is not healthy. Now, I don't want to make you feel bad about any foods that you're eating. I want you to feel good about everything you're eating, even if it's like, quote, a treat or something that's naughty. I don't want to make you feel bad, but it does, when you've had this experience of visualizing that food and then you eat something is not doing you good, it's got loads of white refined sugar in, or, processed dairy and all that kind of stuff, it really makes you more aware of what you're doing with your body. And you can't really ask for much more than that, right? That's a beautiful thing. Okay, let's just take a breath here for a second, because I've got something special here for you. I'm just going to take a sip of my water. Now, hopefully, you've really got a lot out of the hour that we've spent together so far. It would mean so much to me if, you went and did this and you let me know how you get on. I just think that would be such an awesome thing. And that it really kind of resets you for your eating, afterwards. And I'll put this box up now here so you can download your PDF. The recipes and the shopping list and all that good stuff. Just do that. Okay, and so you should have a box now come up that is going to allow you to download that stuff. And I've got something special here because, what do you do after this 3 days? Lots of people go on a juice fast and then, they don't know what to eat after the 3 days. But what do you do if you're eating raw food and you're not going to be 100% raw for forever or for all time, but you want to bring more raw food into your diet, or you want to bring, a combination of raw and plant-based cooked foods into your diet? What can you do beyond that? So I wanted to create something special here for you, and I believe we have. So let's just jump into this. Let me ask you a question. Would you like to be part of a community with ongoing support, ideas and inspiration to help you bring raw and plant-based foods into your life? Well, you'll be thrilled to know we've got something new, very special, and extremely accessible for you to get started with today. And it's called the Raw Chef Wellness Club. That just makes me so happy to see that Wellness Club graphic up there. So I'm excited about this one. Here's what this will do for you. You're going to receive ongoing support, the ongoing support that you need to make raw and plant-based foods a part of your daily routine. And you're going to be part of a community for raw curious and raw committed people alike, just like you. You'll see the benefits of silky smooth skin, more energy and clarity of thought, plus so many other health benefits of raw and plant-based foods. And support is available throughout your journey to better health with monthly recipes, videos and extra bonuses. So when you join the Wellness Club, you'll become part of the Raw Chef family. We'll get you into the Wellness Club Facebook group so you can join a community of like-minded people, and you'll have all the support you'll need to improve your health with raw and plant-based foods. Now, if you want to be part of a supportive community and receive ongoing inspiration, practical how-to lessons, maintain or improve your health with raw and plant-based foods, then this is specifically for you. And here's how we'll do it. Each month, we've got a News from the Kitchen monthly newsletter. Now, you'll receive this in the mail every month, and you may have been with me, back in the day when we used to do, DVDs and binders and stuff, and then we went all online because that's, the way that we can serve you best in terms of a curriculum and a full course. But I wanted to do something that we actually send you and we create, and something you can hold and look through. And the first thing we're doing is this monthly News from the Kitchen newsletter. So you'll get tips, recipes and resources, and we'll have guest articles on wellness. And this really is something that you'll come back to again and again. That's worth $49. You'll also get a monthly recipe card, DVD and online video. So you'll get a collectible recipe card, actually 3 of them. You get 3 recipes, a DVD showing you how to make the recipe, and you'll also get an online version of the video as well. So we send you the DVD with the case, so you can collect all the DVDs as the months go on, and the recipe cards as well. Now this is worth $27. So what you're getting here is your monthly News from the Kitchen newsletter, $49. The recipe cards, DVD, online video, $27. So we're up to $76. And you'll also get special access to the vault filled with resources, videos and articles worth $19. So you'll get access to all of your monthly resources securely online. If you're away somewhere or you want to access them when you're away from home, then you can do that. And when we add that in, the vault of $19 value, we're up to $95 value here. So you'll also get access to membership within a private Facebook group of the Raw Chef Wellness Club worth $14. And you'll be able to interact with other like-minded people in the Wellness Club. And this really is going to be invaluable for you because you can share recipes and learn from other people, right? And you can ask questions of the community and get support. And I'll be in there as well. So with that, we're up to $109 in value. So you've got News from the Kitchen newsletter, $49. You've got monthly recipe cards, DVD, online video, $27. You've got the Vault, $19. You've got the Facebook group, $14. And we're also going to add in a chance to hang out with yours truly, with me, during a live hangout. So once a month, we'll jump on a hangout, which you can drop in on any time. We'll do it for an hour. You can drop in and out as you want to, and you can ask me questions about food or anything relating to a healthy lifestyle. And that's going to be worth $29. So we're adding that in now. With the Hangouts with me, we're up to $138 in value, plus these 3 special bonuses. Now, we've got your guide to raw food for the first 30 days worth $47. So this includes a pre-filled binder with recipes to get you started. And the binder will serve as a place to keep your recipe cards. Now, when I say a binder, we've got this beautiful printed binder in a slipcase that you'll be able to have in the kitchen. And this is going to build up over time to be just this beautiful resource for all your favorite recipes to get you started and to keep you going. So that's worth $47. So with the bonus in there as well, we're up to $185. Now, the next thing we've got is a free ticket to the Raw Chef Live worth $97. So the Raw Chef Live is a one-day class here in London, broadcast online, that we are going to open up to everyone to join for $97, so you can watch in on that. You're going to get a free ticket to it as the second bonus here. Now, you can join the class from your own home, and the event replay will be available in the vault that I mentioned to you earlier. So even if you can't make all of it or any of it live, the event replay will be there for you in the vault. So with bonus number 2, adding $97, now we've got a $282 value for this whole thing. Now, the last thing here we've got is the Raw Chef and Strawsome glass straw worth $15. So if you join us on this webinar, and I'm going to let you know in a second how you can join us, then you'll get this extra bonus as well. So it's a glass smoothie straw, handmade to order, and the Raw Chef design made by Strawsome. So you may have come across the company Strawsome. They make these amazing glass straws. They do juice straws, they do smoothie straws. We've got this white glass straw with a handmade little picture of sprouts on it. 2 little sprouts, a green and a blue sprout. And they are gorgeous. And if you've never drunk a juice or a smoothie through a glass straw, it completely changes the experience. Like, forget about plastic straws, it's completely different. It really makes it much more of a decadent experience. So with the bonus number 3 in there, we've got a value of $297 for everything. So we've got the News from the Kitchen newsletter, $49. We've got the monthly recipe card, DVD and online video, $27. We've got the Vault, $19. We've got the Facebook group, $14. The monthly Hangouts with me, $29. Then we've got all 3 bonuses, that binder and the raw food guide, ticket to the Raw Chef Live, and a Strawsome glass straw. The third bonus there is if you join us whilst we're on the webinar. So the total value here is $297. Now, I thought, what can we do here to give you great value and make this really accessible? So I was looking at, well, let's do that half price. You know, we're shipping stuff to you. We're shipping this physical stuff to you. Let's do it for half price and just give this incredible deal. But then I thought, what if we just charge you $19? I was talking with my team. I was like, maybe we just charge these guys just for the postage, right? We just get all this stuff out to them, just give them this incredible experience. So they say, wow, like this is awesome. For $19. So that's what we're going to do. So we've got this time limited offer. You can go to therawchef.com/wellness/club. We're actually going to just put up a link that you can click on the screen here now for you anyway, so you don't have to type that all in. And it's going to give you everything you've just seen for $19. And then to be part of the Wellness Club, if you want to make that decision to keep going with us, then it's just $47 per month, so that you get the newsletter, you get extra recipes each month, you get the DVD each month, you get the Hangouts, you get the Facebook group, all of that stuff on an ongoing monthly basis, if you decide to stay. So we've got a 30-day guarantee here for you. If you decide within 30 days that you want to cancel, so you would just pay that $19, and you want to cancel, you don't want any of the monthly goodies, then all you have to do is drop us an email at russell@therawchef.com. You can actually reply to any of the emails that we send, and Ryan will take care of you. We don't have any of that no reply shenanigans. We're at the end of any email that you reply to. Just drop us a line and tell us you don't want to be part of it anymore. You can keep all of the goodies we've just shown you for $19 as well, with my thanks. Even if you're completely unhappy, we'll even refund you the $19 if you really want to. But my intention is I would love to just give you an experience of this Wellness Club, see what we can do for you, see how we can support you in eating healthier, with the recipes, with the community, with all of the wellness articles in the newsletter, have some fun sending you goodies like the glass straw, and just give you this incredible experience. Just for $19. So, and as I said there, if you're really not happy, we'll also refund you the $19. So just a reminder of what you're getting. The news from the kitchen newsletter, $49. The monthly recipe card. So that newsletter is monthly as well. Then you're getting monthly recipe cards, actually 3 of them, plus a DVD with 3 videos and the online version of the video as well for $27. You're getting access to the Vault, which is a vault of recipes that we've already got in there, that you can just get stuck into straight away. That's $19 in value. Facebook group, $14 in value. That's, I don't know about you, but if you've ever been part of any other online course or online offering, I've found the Facebook groups to be the most amount of value, because you can go in there and ask questions and connect with people, and in our case we can share recipes with each other and provide resources. So I think that's going to be really valuable for you. Monthly Hangouts with me, asking me anything you want. You can drop in and out each month, $29 in value. Bonus number 1, we've got the raw food guide and binder, that beautiful binder. I can't wait for you to see that. It's so gorgeous. I'm really proud of it. Our designers did an incredible job with that. $47. Then we've got the ticket to the Raw Chef Live. You'll get for $97, which again you can watch live or you can watch the recording. You'll have that. And then if you join whilst we're on this webinar, you'll get the glass straw as well for $15. Or it's worth $15, but you're going to get that whole thing for $19. Now, even if you can actually buy the glass straw on Strawsom's website for $15 plus postage. So what we're even charging you here, this $19, would just cover that. Even if you were just buying it for that, it would make sense. So you've watched this far in the presentation, and you can see this is incredible value. I'm really proud of what we've done here. And so my question to you is, what would it mean to you to have this kind of support and inspiration, ongoing, month to month, to be plugged into people that are thinking like you, that are eating like you, that can provide you with tips and recipes and, their own experiences. You can have access to me and the team here, and just really get everything you want out of this raw food thing, and really doing the most you can for your health and your wellness, so that you can just be the best you can be. So I've got a little timer up here for 10 minutes. We're going to do a little bit of Q&A, and I'll just leave this up on the screen here. You can see bonus number 3 there is in that pink colour. So because that, as long as you join within the next 10 minutes, you'll get that glass straw as well, whilst I'm just doing a little bit of Q&A, because we've had some questions that have come in here. So let me have a look. Alison, you taught me knife skills. I bought better knives because of what I learned from you. Thank you, Alison. Amazing. I love to hear that what we're doing here is actually having an effect. Sometimes when I'm sitting behind my computer here doing my thing on webinars and whatnot, it can be tricky to really connect with what's going on out there. And that's why I love doing live classes as well, to really kind of meet people and go back and forth like that. So it's always nice to hear that the courses, presumably you're talking about the Raw Chef at Home, because that's where we've got our knife skills lessons. So thanks so much, Alison. Hillary, is there such a thing as eating too much sauerkraut? I make my own and love it. I don't think so. I mean, bearing in mind there's too much of anything, you can have too much of a good thing, right? You can drink too much water, for example. You can have too much sun. You can eat too many bananas. You can do too much of anything. But generally, I think as long as your stomach is feeling good and it's not feeling, like it's too much, or you're visiting the bathroom too often, then I don't think there is too much of a good thing in terms of, there's too much. There's a point at which sauerkraut becomes, unhealthy, with the caveat that if you eat a ridiculous amount, then obviously. But it really goes down to how your body's feeling. I think that comes down to a lot of anything with regards to any kind of food. You'll know that if you're eating too many fermented foods, you'll feel it. Like I said, you'll be going to the bathroom too often. So. Do you recommend a B12 supplement? I don't recommend a particular B12 supplement, Jeremy, but if you are eating, I think that's what you're asking, or you're asking if I just recommend B12. I think you're asking, so I would recommend B12. If you're eating completely plant-based, if you're eating vegan, then you're just not going to get B12. Although I have heard you can get it from fermentation, but B12 supplementation is so easy. The thing about any supplementation is, unless you've had blood tests and you're specifically low, then you're kind of shooting in the dark, right? I think so many people take so many different supplements just because they've heard it's good. And in a lot of cases, I don't think it's doing any harm. Again, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a doctor, I'm not claiming to be, just talking from my own personal experience, because where I've had blood tests before, and I've, as an example, I had a blood test for testosterone, and then I wanted to test if maca, MACA, did help it, and it did. I tested a couple of months apart, and it went up significantly. I think 20 points, if I remember rightly, by having a maca supplement. So blood testing really is your go-to there. But there's a lot of people talk about the Garden of Life one, which I think is a spray, which I think is good. Good to get a spray that you can hold in your mouth and spray it under your tongue. Sublingual. Russell, do you drink wheatgrass? That's from Linda. I don't right now, and I don't feel the need to. I used to grow my own. I think I might start growing my own again. But the one thing about wheatgrass, I think it's amazing. I wouldn't, if wheatgrass really just turns your stomach, don't do it. Or drink less, drink some really small amounts. The thing about wheatgrass is you've got to make sure that it's not that it's not got any mold on it. And I think you can only really do that if you make your own, or unless you're getting it from a really, highly trusted source. I will just say at this point, we've got 5 minutes 30 left on the clock here for the Q&A. So just be aware of that, because if you join us for the Wellness Club, by the time we finished here, you'll get that glass straw as well as the other bonuses. Is regular peanut butter bad, Gabby? Yes. Next question. No, I occasionally have a little bit of peanut butter in a date instead of a dessert, like just a little bit of peanut butter in one medjool date, and that's amazing. That's me done. But I wouldn't make a habit of eating a lot of peanuts, because they've got aflatoxins in, and they're not great for you. I'm on a lot of meds. Will it be okay? I so want to do it. So you're talking about the 3 days here, Karen. Yeah, as I said, I'm not a doctor, so I have, the only thing I can say, and the thing I absolutely do say, is that you've got to check with your healthcare professional, whatever doctor you're working with. Hopefully it's some kind of natural doctor, naturopath, or whoever's prescribing you the meds obviously needs to be taken into account. But if you can find someone that, a reputable natural doctor that can talk you through this stuff, You're much more qualified, obviously, than I am to work with you on that. Sandra, is there extra postage for Australia? There's actually not. No, we're just keeping it simple. We're just charging $19 for everyone because otherwise it just gets complicated. Daniel, are the recipes different from your other courses? Yep, they're new stuff. The ongoing monthly recipes are more simple recipes. They're completely new. Vicky, is Facebook necessary to do this wellness club? I don't do Facebook. It's totally not. No, you can get everything else. You just won't have the Facebook group. We are also looking at bringing a forum in the academy. So, you've got the vault there. We're looking at bringing in a forum there as well. So we'll see which one works out better, the Facebook group or the forum. But certainly, no, that's not the rest of it. I mean, you'll still get the hangouts, you'll still get all of the other monthly stuff and the bonuses and all that kind of stuff. Is this US currency? Monya? Yes, US currency. $47 per month for how many months? This is from Nocthula. Hopefully I've pronounced that right. Probably haven't at all. Noctula. $47 a month for however many months you want to stay, Noctula. Really. So it's completely up to you. You can leave at any time. My intention is that we make this so valuable for you that you couldn't imagine leaving because you're just getting so much from it. So, but it's entirely up to you. Russell, how do we get our physical address to you if this isn't the same as our billing address? Okay, so on the order form, you'll have seen that there's a billing address but no shipping address. So if your billing address is different from your shipping address, then just drop us an email, russell@therawchef.com. Or, as I said, you can reply to any of our emails, any of the emails you had for inviting you to this webinar, and we'll get back to you, and Ryan will change that for you. Okay, Karen, raw almonds when I sprout them, how long in a dehydrator and what is the shelf life after dehydrating? So raw almonds, any raw nuts that I'm dehydrating, I do those for as long as I need to get them completely dry. So 24 hours is usually totally fine for that. With regards to the shelf life after dehydrating, you've got to watch out for that one, because once you've soaked them, even whether you dehydrate them or you don't, after you've soaked them, they are not protected by the enzyme inhibitors and all that kind of stuff. They're a fresh food at that point. So I really would only advise keeping them in the fridge in a sealed container for maybe a week to 10 days. You could probably get away with longer than that, but that's as long as I'm kind of willing to to say that they will be good for. Back in the day, I definitely, and we're going to run over the counter here because I want to just finish these few questions. But back in the day, I made an almond milk from almonds that had been sitting out on the shelf after having been soaked and dehydrated, and I got ill for 24 hours. That was before I was a chef, you'll be pleased to know. Will there be PDFs for the 3-day kickstart? Where are they found? Yeah, so there's a button on the screen, Cassandra, the way you can download those. Karen, sorry, me again. Can you freeze dehydrated sprouted almonds? I bought 25 pounds and want to make sure how to keep them. Can you freeze dehydrated sprouted almonds? Yes, you can. I mean, once they're in the freezer, it's a completely different thing, right? Oh, there's my timer. You have still got probably a minute. I've got 3 more questions here that I can see that I want to answer. So if you do want to join us, just click that button to join the Wellness Club, and you'll get all of these goodies. Once I finish these few questions, the Strawsome glass straw is gonna be gone. But just as an extra little incentive for you to join us today, right now, join now and you can get that glass straw as well. So I've got looks like I've got 4 questions here at the moment. or 3 questions. Oh, so I was on the dehydrated sprouted almonds one. So yeah, once you are freezing something, then you're really prolonging the life. So 25 pounds, I wouldn't soak and sprout the whole 25 pounds in one go and then freeze them, unless you're going to really be using them, going through them at quite a rate. You've probably got a few months on frozen almonds. I mean, again, you could probably get away with a lot longer than that, but kind of officially, I'd say a few months on frozen almonds, and then you just have to. I would do. It depends how quickly you use them, but I would do maybe half, and keep the other half, unsoaked and unsprouted. But that's where I sit with that. So Louise, how quickly would we expect to receive our first newsletter, etc., in the post? Okay, good question. So it's going to be different depending on which part of the world you're in. Obviously, we had a question about Australia. We ship from the UK, and so it really depends on how long it takes to get it there. But the shipping's only going to take a couple of days. From once we get your order in, and then it gets out to you, and then at the start of the month you get your newsletter, and then halfway through the month we'll then send out your DVD and recipe cards as well. So you'll have regular goodies to look forward to in the post, and as I say, it should only take a few days. What percentage of the monthly recipes mailed out will be new recipes we haven't had yet? And that's from Christy. I think I mentioned earlier that these are new recipes, actually. Yeah, so the monthly recipes, the recipe card and the DVDs, they're all new recipes. They're simpler, perhaps, than what you've seen on my site or that you'll see in the curriculum and the courses, because these are recipes that, my intention is that you use these every day. And you get a huge amount of use from them. And that binder and that slipcase is something that's just lives in your kitchen. So yeah, all new stuff for you guys. Okay, I've got one question left. So this is your chance now. If you want all of these bonuses and you want to join us on the Wellness Club and you want the Strawsome Glass straw as well, then you got to join us before I finish in a second here. What's the question? Hi, I signed up, but email is not correct. What now? Help. And that's from Nzinga. And what now? Your email is incorrect. Okay, so that's an easy one. You can just drop us an email at russell@therawchef.com and let us know what email that you used and what email you want to use, and we'll get that switched over for you. And that's the same with any kind of questions you've got with relating to shipping, changing emails, changing shipping address, or anything like that. Just drop us a line, russell@therawchef.com. Okay, thank you so much, guys. It's been so much fun. I love spending time with you, walking you through this stuff, helping you go raw for 3 days. This can really be a beautiful experience for you, a beautiful reset. Will you do me a favour? When you get through your 3 days and you're feeling amazing, will you write to me and tell me? We're actually going to be sending you an email, come to think of it, that will ask you those things. So look out for that email after your 3 days. As I said, don't leave it for a Monday until you start. Get started on a Friday or Saturday or Sunday, and then watch out for that email that we'll send in a few days time, and just finding out, what experience you had. I'd love to get some feedback on how great this is for you. So I look forward to hearing from you about the 3 days. I'd love to have you in this Wellness Club as well to continue on, or maybe even to share some of your experiences of the 3 days in the Wellness Club as well with other people that have done it. So therawchef.com/wellness/club. We'd love to see you in there. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Have a beautiful rest of your day.